I would love to tell you what I think of Jesus, since I found in him a friend so strong and true. I would tell you how he changed my life completely. He did something that no other friend could do. No one ever cared for me like Jesus. There's no other friend so kind as he. No one else could take the sin and darkness from me. Oh, how much he cared for me.
My name is Carllister Ejinkeo. I got born again at the age of 17, and by the grace of God, I've been a Christian for 39 years now. Actually, I got born again in the year 1983. Before this time, January that year, I had looked around me, having just completed my secondary school education. I looked around me, I saw what my mates were doing, jumping this way and that way, seeking for frivolities. Many of them, if it's not the boyfriend issue, it's the girlfriend issue. And I was actually scared of that kind of life. But I didn't know any other way other than the moral instructions and the religion I have been into. So that year, January, I told the Lord that he should help me not to be like these other girls, because teenage pregnancy was so rampant. I just picked up my diary, a small diary I got, and I wrote it there telling the Lord to help me, that I don't want to live a careless life, and I should just help me to know him just the way I have known him, and to overcome all the wooings and distractions that were around. God heard that prayer, and by October of that year, I had the privilege of going to the Watchman Fellowship Center at number 5 Ojoniu Street with my uncle. I attended a Sunday Life Fellowship that day, just in a parlor there. And by God's grace that day, the man of God, our general overseer, ministered the word of God. I grabbed it because my heart was already filled with wanting to know God. And so since that time, the Lord has been helping. I was just a youth, and he has been helping to the present day. I had just completed secondary school, so I was taking JAMB. At that time, I didn't get the admission that year, but I got admission by and by in 1986. That was about 3 years after I got born again. So I got admission into the university to study computer science. That's University of Nigeria in Nsukka. It was not easy because at that time, just few people were born again, but there were still believers on campus who were seriously serving the Lord. I got the privilege of being in the university and joining a fellowship to keep myself going. By and by the grace of God, before we left, we were able to start up the Watchman Campus Fellowship. Being a Christian as a student in the university, it was not an easy one, because you are a youth full of strength, young, and also at least some beauty. And And it was not an easy one financially, because I didn't come from a very wealthy family. We were just average. So my parents were just putting one or two together to send me to school. So it was not easy. The temptations were there. But there was one thing I knew I took a decision on before going to the university. I didn't know that the university life was like that, actually. I thought that, well, since as a Christian in the city and town, I've been meeting with those who are not born again and telling them about Jesus and living my Christian life. I had thought that university was just the same thing. You meet people who are born again and those who are not. And since you have been surviving here, definitely you survive there. But I told myself that this way I have chosen, I'm not going to go back from it. I was going to hold steadfastly onto it. So when I got to the campus, there were many distractions. But God helping, I also had other young people like me who were students who were also born again. So the first thing I did was to identify with the children of God. And once you identify with the children of God, that separates you from those who are not. They will be tempting, wooing and all that, but you also have a group who are also young and tender, but loving the Lord. So fortunately, I had brethren who were like me, and we're all encouraging ourselves with the tough times, trying to keep up with your faith, sustaining it, going for lectures, preparing for exams, and making sure that you had a good result. And if you don't have the good result, that's when you have issues, lecturers. So the Lord helped us, we kept moving. I knew that I had issues with one lecturer or so, who eventually told me that he has tried his best to bring me out of this thing I was putting my head into, and that's Christianity, which I refused to come out. And God helped me. I survived his troubles. There was also a course we were taking in humanity, because science students have one or two courses to take in the arts department. And that lecturer was somebody who seemed never to believe in God. And so each time he came to the classroom, he would always try to, brainwash us, so to say, to make you know that this God you're talking about is nothing. Let's go back to the idols of our fathers and all that. So some students were won to his side, but God helped us and we stood. Keeping yourself as a Christian on campus requires a lot. You don't just be an ordinary Christian. You have to ensure that you are functioning and every person knows that this is what you have chosen. And so while the activities in the fellowship were able to go ahead, especially as the campus fellowship was just starting, we were just starting it. It took a lot of praying, personal dedication, personal prayers, midnight prayers, going prayer, fasting, all that. And then by grace of God, I was the Bible study coordinator. So I had to gather the outlines for the time, go up, have them typed. In those days, it was cyclostyling. There was nothing like email or whatever. So I have to go, have them typed, cyclostyle them, and bring them back for fellowship the next day. But all these things helped in strengthening us and making us who we are. The Lord gave us such privileges, and we're able to minister to people. And in fact, in our time, we're able to have a crusade outside the campus, and we started off one of the town fellowships. So these are things that the Lord used to sustain us. We were encouragement to ourselves, And we made up our minds not to be distracted. Yes, it was not easy because the money was not there. We were just managing the little your parents were able to give to you, you manage. So we're just managing. Many times what you eat cannot be compared to what your mates were eating. In fact, sometimes when I'm coming from lecture tired under the heavy sun, we had a kind of canteen in the hostel. Other students will stop there, take their mineral, but you can't do that because you didn't have the resources. So you will just have to pass down to you. And the funny thing was that I must pass there to go to my room. And that I did each day without being able to go to drink the mineral others were drinking and all that. But the Lord helped us. It's wonderful to be a Christian, to be a child of God, especially before going to the university. So in all things, it helped us, and we were focused on education, focused on Jesus, determined to be what we should be. You see, many times, many students have distraction on campus. When you begin to engage yourself into this relationship and dating issue, there are some students who are also believers. You find those who are into brother, sister, dating, we are relating, this is the person I'm going to marry, and all that. And before you know it, you are distracted. There is time for everything. Many times I would always ask, if you are dating somebody and getting into relationship as a student, the person you are dating cannot pay his school fees, can't pay his bills. You cannot pay your school fees, cannot pay your bills. The little money your parents send to you, you begin to share it with a boy or share it with a girl. It's not a wise one. And moreover, emotionally and psychologically, you are being affected. You are distracted because you are struggling to love somebody and keep somebody's love for you, all in the name of dating and relationship. And you end up distracting yourself. And unfortunately, 95% of those that do this, they never marry. Because by the time you are graduating, you are going to youth service, every person is sent this way, that way. And of course, the girls are always the worst hits because the boys forget you. They see new people. And then you are in trouble. You are the one. Those days, there was no phone to say you want to reach out to anybody. When you lose the contact, it is lost, except through letters and all that. So it is like getting yourself into a tight corner, into issues you cannot resolve. So the best bet is, are you a student, a Christian student, on campus, in the university, higher institution of learning, whether polytechnic or what have you? You went to school to study. Yes, we were called triangular students, from lecture room to hostel, from hostel to church, back to lecture room to hostel. It paid off. We are happy about it. And that's why when we graduated, there was no boy that could make caricature of us, because we kept ourselves unstained, unscratched. So that is what is there. And that was what God used, helping us. And we graduated. And God, as we graduated, He fixed us in different places. And in His vineyard, He has given us portions of work to still deliver for Him. And we are still about that business.